Hi students. Yesterday and previous classes, I explained about the SN1, SN2 reaction and some examples of SN1, SN2 reaction. And one student asked me about SN1, SN2 differences. So I gave the SN1, SN2 differences briefly, and you just recap the SN1, SN2 reactions again. So SN1 reaction means it is called as unimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction, whereas SN2 reaction is called as bimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. Bimolecular nucleophilic substitution reaction. And here SN1 reactions and SN2 reactions, if you are taking, in the SN1 reaction, generally what happens? The tertiary alkyl halides are generally undergoing to SN1 reactions. Okay, SN1 reactions are mainly shown by tertiary alkyl halides, whereas SN2 reactions are given by primary alkyl halides. Primary alkyl halides means it may be CH3X or it may be RX, any alkyl halide, ethyl, methyl, or any other halides. And tertiary alkyl halides means here we gave that is R3CX, this tertiary alkyl halides. And next, this is a two-step process. We said now, first step is a carbocation formation. Second step is the carbocation is attacked by the nucleophile from either front side or from the back side. If the front side attack is occurring, we will get one product, back side attack another product. But this is a single step process. From front side, the group living, the halidine is living as a living group, and from back side, the nucleophile attacks, and that is a single step process. And here the rate of reaction is depending only on the first step. In the first step, rate is directly proportional to alkyl halide concentration. So in the first step, what is participating means only alkyl halide. So rate of reaction is directly proportional to the concentration of alkyl halide. It is not depending on the nucleophile, because nucleophile is involving in second step of SN1 reaction. But in SN2, there is no two step, three step. It is a single step constructed process. So rate of reaction is directly proportional to alkyl halide and the concentration of nucleophile also. Okay. And next, basing on this rate equation, molecularity or order of reaction is equal to 1. And here for SN2 reaction, as per this rate equation, molecularity and order of reaction, if you are taking, the molecularity and order of reaction are 2. Okay. With respect to substrate, here substrate means reactant. So which reactant has more reactivity means we said clearly tertiary alkyl halides. Tertiary alkyl halides, next is secondary, next is primary, and next is methyl halide. Before to this, if you have any benzyl allyl halides, they are much more reactive because benzyl carbocations and allyl carbocations are stabilized by resonance. And with respect to substrate, order of rate of reaction for SN2. SN2 mechanism is most favorable by methyl halide. Why this is taken means it is basing on the reactivity and stability of carbocation. Here carbocation which is forming a more stable means tertiary. Here it is not forming carbocation. This is basing on the steric hindrance. Reactivity depends on the steric hindrance. If less steric hindrance containing compound is taken, that is having more reactivity. So methyl halide has very less steric hindrance, so this is more reactive. Okay. And next, with respect to living group, order of rate of reaction, both are having same type, because the living group, whenever it is living easily or if it is moved easily away, then the alkyl carbocation formation occur or nucleophile attack occurs easily. So living group order is same for both SN1, SN2. And for SN1 reactions, what type of nucleophiles we used? A weak nucleophile is used. A weak nucleophile, suppose if you are taking H2O, this is a weak nucleophile. ROH is a weak nucleophile. RCOOH. So this is a weak nucleophile. So weak nucleophiles are generally used. And here this is strong nucleophile. Here strong nucleophile means generally negative charged nucleophiles are strong nucleophiles. OH minus, RO minus, RCOO minus, CN minus. So the Cn minus, SH minus, NH2 minus, they are strong nucleophiles. Okay, and next, what type of solvent required for the SN1 reaction means polar protic solvents. Polar protic solvents, example I gave here, the example is H2O and alcohol and carboxylic acids. They are called as polar protic solvent. If a solvent and a nucleophile both are same, water, then it is called as solvolysis process also. I already gave it. And here polar aprotic solvents are favorable. Polar aprotic solvent means we gave that acetone and DMF, dimethyl formamide, DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide. So such type of solvents are more better for SN2 mechanism. Okay. The next point, here in SN1 reaction, carbocation reaction intermediate is formed. So rearrangement reactions are possible. We said no, rearrangement reaction means 1,2 hydride shift, 1,2 methyl shift, 1,2 phenyl shift, or ring expansion, very rarely ring contraction also. Okay, so carbocation intermediate is formed, so the rearrangement reactions are possible. And here in SN2 mechanism, if you are taking, no carbocation formation occur. Because in SN2 reaction, what happens? It occurs through the formation of a transition state, via the transition state formation. So there is no rearrangement reactions in SN2 mechanism. Next point, optically active substrate. Here substrate means reactant. If optically active compound is taken as a substrate or reactant, then what are the final products means? We will get two products. What are those two products means? One is a retention product, another one is inversion product. So optically active compound gives a retention and inversion products mixture, or it is also called as a racemic mixture. So we can say simply racemic mixture is formed. So racemic mixture formation occurs in SN1 reaction if you are using optically active, very very important, if you take optically active only. If you are not taking optically active compound, we can't get racemic mixture. Okay, and similarly, if in SN2 mechanism, optically active reactant is taken, means a chiral carbon, optically active means chiral carbon. So, if optically active substrate is taken, it gives only one inversion product. It is giving only one inversion product, and that inversion product is given by the scientist Walden. It is first observed, and so it is called as Walden inversion product. Okay, and here if this is not forming an optically active, racemic mixture is optically inactive na. We said already racemic mixture is optically inactive. Why this is optically inactive means due to external compensation. So whenever optically inactive product is formed, this reaction is called as non-stereospecific, non-stereoselective reaction. And here one optically active compound is converting into another optically active compound. So this is stereospecific and stereoselective reaction. Okay. The next point, in the SN1 reaction and SN2 reaction, graphical representation. If you are taking graphical representation also, it has a difference. Here this is delta Z. Delta Z means Gibbs energy, Gibbs free energy change. And here they are reaction coordinates. Reaction coordinates means reactants to products. So in intermediate formation, what is the reaction proceeding? So the reaction process. And here first we are taking reactant, initially alkyl halide. And this alkyl halide is converting into a first step. What is this first step? This is called as reaction intermediate carbocation. The reaction intermediate carbocation furtherly reacts with nucleophile, and furtherly the reaction nucleophile complex or a reaction nucleophile product is formed plus X minus is formed. Okay, the nucleophile attacks on the carbocation and forms the product. So this is called as a product. These are products, and this is called as a reactant. So the reactant to reaction intermediate formation, here this is the energy difference is called as activation energy. Here this is called as activation energy, and here one more activation energy is there. So this is activation energy, and here the energy required for this conversion is called as activation energy, and this is the reaction compounds or reactants energy, and this much energy is required for converting into reaction intermediate and finally converting into products. Okay, so this is a representation of SN1 reaction. In SN2 reaction, what happens? No reaction intermediate. It is forming only transition state, means reactant and nucleophile present as reactants initially, and it is forming transition state. In transition state, the halide ion and nucleophile having a partial bonding, and slowly the bond dissociate and this bond formation occur. Finally, you will get the products. And this is a SN2 mechanism. Next, here the next one is elimination reactions. Here elimination reaction means simply eliminate. Eliminate means removal. Removal of two or more atoms from a compound is simply called as elimination. And in this elimination reactions, if we are taking, mainly depending upon the groups or atoms eliminated from same carbon or from different carbons, the elimination reactions are classified mainly into two types. Elimination reactions are two types. So what is elimination reaction means? It is the process of removal of two or more atoms or groups from a molecule, generally to form unsaturated compounds. Normally what are formed after the removal of atoms or groups means unsaturated compounds are formed. And in this process, elimination reactions, mainly there are two types. In this first type is called as alpha elimination reactions. Alpha elimination reactions. Alpha elimination reaction means what? Here alpha elimination reaction means if two atoms or groups eliminated from or removed from same carbon atom, if you are removing the atoms or groups from same carbon atom, then that is called as alpha elimination, or from one carbon atom. For example, I am taking CHCl3, which is called as chloroform. Here chloroform is having a structure like this. Here chlorine, another chlorine, and hydrogen is present. So this is a chloroform, and this is reacting with a base like NaOH. So alcoholic sodium hydroxide we are taking. Then what happens in this process means, here hydrogen is eliminated and halogen is also eliminated, which are present on the same carbon. So one hydrogen, one halogen. So one hydrogen plus OH group is eliminated as H2O, and one halogen plus Na is eliminated as NaCl. Then what is remaining? The remaining compound is CCl2. Here this is CCl2. This is having two electrons, and this is called as a dichlorocarbene. Dichlorocarbene is formed. Okay, so carbene formation. Similarly, CH2I2. If you have CH2I2, if it is reacting with zinc dust is a dehalogenation reagent, and then it is forming CH2, 2 electrons plus Zn(I2) is formed. Here 2 electrons are present on it, totally it contains 6 electrons. It is commonly called as carbene or methylene group. This is known as methylene or carbene. So this is alpha elimination process. Alpha elimination means when we are removing two or more atoms from same carbon or from the one carbon atom, then it is called as alpha elimination process. But there are very few reactions. Alpha elimination reactions are very few. The second type is called as beta elimination process. Here, the second type is beta elimination. Here, beta elimination process means what? If two atoms or groups, two atoms or groups are removed from adjacent carbon atoms, from adjacent carbon atoms to form unsaturated compound, or generally alkenes are formed. They are called as a beta elimination process. So whenever we are removing two atoms or groups from adjacent, here how we can write? Suppose I am writing C, and here there is a halogen, and here there is a hydrogen, and remaining bonds I am writing normally. Whatever it may be the bond groups, we are not writing. Simply on this carbon atom we have a halogen, on this carbon we have a hydrogen. And now I am using alcoholic KOH. Alcoholic KOH, we know in first year we used this reagent, that is alcoholic KOH is a powerful dehydrohalogenation reagent. Here we are removing the halogen and here we are removing the hydrogen. So whenever we are removing the hydrogen and halogen, here hydrogen is removed and here halogen is removed, and the halogen containing carbon is called as alpha carbon. The halogen containing carbon is called as here alpha carbon, and the adjacent carbon is called as beta carbon. So from alpha and beta we are removing, so this is called as beta elimination process. So beta elimination process means whenever we are removing from adjacent, here adjacent means what? Alpha and beta. So alpha beta elimination or beta elimination simply, that is if you remove hydrogen here and here halogen is taking this pair of electrons and this is giving these electrons to this and so what is formed here? The old bonds, and already one bond is present, new bond is formed, and here these old bonds are present. So an alkene formation occur plus KCl and H2O formation occurs. Okay, that is an alkene. So this is called as alkene. Generally elimination products are alkenes and alkynes normally. Okay, very common reactions are alkene, alkynes or unsaturated compound formation. So beta elimination means two atoms or groups removed from adjacent carbons. Here adjacent carbons means when we are taking alpha and beta carbons. That is called as a beta elimination process. And here in this beta elimination process again we are having mainly three types. The first one is called as even reactions. Even elimination reactions are even reactions, and second one is called as E2 reactions, and the third type is called as even CB reactions. Even CB reactions. Even reaction means like SN1 we have even. Even means one means unimolecular elimination reaction. E2 means bimolecular elimination reaction. Even CB means okay, unimolecular elimination. What is CB? Are you a favorite of non-veg chicken biryani? Okay, CB means chicken biryani? No. Please don't write chicken biryani. It is unimolecular elimination via conjugate base. CB means conjugate base. Unimolecular elimination via conjugate base formation reaction. Okay, I will give first about the even reaction, and mainly we will take the reaction. Generally in elimination reaction, what happens, we will check first. Here C and this is present. Here we are having suppose A, and here we are having B. And in the elimination process, what happens is the C double bond, double bond, double bond, double bond. And here this A and B are removed. And what is formed newly? A pi bond is formed. And here it is forming AB molecule. Okay. So this is actually what happens in elimination process. And tell me, is this exothermic reaction or endothermic reaction? Exothermic or endothermic? How we can say this is exothermic or endothermic? Suppose if you see that here what type of bonds are present in the reactant and product, we will check. Here these all bonds are old bonds only now, no change. But what is the change occurred? Here this is a old bond dissociated. This is also old bond dissociated. And here what is formed? New bond formed. This is a new bond formed, and this is also a new bond formed. Okay, please remember how many old bonds and how many new bonds formation occurred, we will check. Here how many old bonds present? Suppose remaining bonds are same. So here old 2 sigma bonds present. Old bonds, I am telling this, old bonds, 2 sigma bonds in the reactant. After the reaction, what happened? Here one pi bond formation occurred, and here one sigma bond formation occurred. Okay, one sigma bond, one pi bond formation occurred. Now tell me, from 2 sigma bonds, 2 sigma bonds formation if occurred, if 2 sigma bonds are converting into 2 sigma bonds, then no change in the number of bonds or types of bonds. But here what happened? 2 sigma bonds present in old, this is old bonds, means in reactant, but newly what is happened? Newly what is happened? Here one pi bond and one sigma bond only formed. Which is a stronger bond, tell me? Sigma bond or pi bond? Yes, obviously you know that sigma bonds are stronger than pi bonds. So here we are having 2 strong bonds initially before reaction, but after reaction what is happening? 1 sigma, 1 pi bond only, means we are getting a weak bond. Generally a stronger bonds are converting into weaker bonds, means what? We are getting a more stable molecule to less stable molecule. More stable molecule to less stable molecule conversion means, more stable means it has less energy. Less stable means it has more energy. So when what is happening is a more stable molecule to less stable molecule formation means the delta H value is becoming more than 0. Delta H more than 0. Why? Because here more stable molecule is converting into a less stable molecule. Less energy molecule is converting into more energy molecule, like. Okay. And if we are having one molecule here, but here what is happening? 2 molecules we have. Means randomness or entropy. As you studied in the first year, randomness or entropy also increasing. So delta H increases and randomness also increases. So basing on this, if you take the delta Z gives P energy, delta Z is equal to, what is the formula? Delta H minus T delta S. T delta S. So delta H minus T delta S, as per this, if you are taking delta H is increasing greater than 0 means positive, delta is greater than 0 means it is also positive. Here we have minus. So finally what happens? This is becoming plus and this is becoming minus. The total sum becomes T value, basing on T value you will give. So minus and plus you will get minus. When you will get delta Z less than 0, negative. When we will get delta Z negative? When we will get? So what is required condition? Here already delta H positive, and delta S value positive. And because of delta S positive, here minus is there, so totally it becomes positive, and this is negative. Then what about delta Z? Here to become delta Z negative, what is required? So it depends upon the T. Delta Z depends upon the T value. If delta Z wants less than 0 or it is negative when you have high temperature. So very important, please remember, at high temperature. Sorry. So at high temperature, delta Z will becomes less than 0 or delta Z is negative, means what we can write? Elimination. Please remember this, very important. Elimination favor at high temperature. This is the first and important point to do the elimination reactions. So elimination reactions always favors at high temperatures. Okay, so in a normal elimination reaction, what is happening? A more stable bonds to less stable bond formation occur. So delta H, delta S becomes greater than 0. So delta Z value to get negative or less than 0, we need high temperatures. So if this is becoming higher value, then we are getting elimination reactions at delta Z less than 0. Okay, so for this purpose, generally elimination reactions are conducted at high temperature process. Or if high temperatures are taken, then only the elimination reaction is favored or elimination reaction occurs. Okay, that is first and important point. Now, E1 reaction. Here for the E1 reaction, I am taking CH3, C halogen, here CH3, here it is CH2, CH3, and here we are having H2O and delta. Here H2O and delta, please remember H2O and delta given. Water is given and delta is given. Generally, what type of alkyl halide is this? Here this is a tertiary alkyl halide. Actually, this is a tertiary alkyl halide. So E1 reaction means as like SN1, same. So you please remember SN1, that is E1 only. E1 reactions are favorable by tertiary alkyl halides. And E2 reactions favorable by primary alkyl halides. Generally we can say, but I will give the order. So E1 reactions are favored by tertiary alkyl halides, and secondary alkyl halides also shows E1 reactions. Benzyl, allyl, we will give differently. Okay, mainly E1 reactions if you are taking tertiary alkyl halides gives. When they gives this E1 reaction, if you see this compound, what are the products? As we expect, what are the products means, generally E1 reaction is also a two-step process. E1 reaction is also a two-step process. Here two-step process means what? We have two steps in this mechanism. In this first step, if you are taking, in the first step, what happens is carbocation formation occurs. Here the carbocation formation means here CH3 and CH2 CH3 we have, and this is a halogen in the presence of a polar protic solvent, or water is also a polar protic solvent. This is a rate determining step, and in the rate determining first step, this is converting first into CH3 C plus and CH3 CH2 and CH3. This is a tertiary carbocation. tertiary carbocation formation occurred. So same as SN1, no difference. Then what is the difference for E1 and SN1? The second step is different. So the second step I am writing now. The second step is different for this SN1 and E1 reaction. Here what is the second step? This is first step. I wrote this is first step, step 1. Okay, the second step I am taking here. Second step, what is the difference between the first step and second step? Here in the second step is this is CH3 C plus and CH3 and CH2 CH3. Now this will undergoes to elimination process. Here in this elimination, what we said, generally E1 E2 reactions are beta elimination reactions. Here this is a beta carbon, or here I am writing this is alpha, halogen bonded carbon is alpha, and the adjacent carbon is called as beta carbon, and here this is also beta and this is also beta. So the adjacent carbon atoms are called as beta carbons, and this will become gamma carbon. We are not telling about gamma elimination, so just remove about this. So this is alpha, and adjacent carbon atoms are beta carbons, and in this these two are same type of carbon, methyl group. So I am not telling about the both, we can give only for one. From this or from this, if you remove the hydrogen, suppose I am having like a CH2 and one hydrogen we are having separately, and I am removing this hydrogen, suppose I am eliminating this hydrogen, then this electron will shift onto this. So what is formed here? CH3 and C double bond CH2 and CH2 and CH3, or we can get I said now this one and this one both are same, so I am writing another product. Or suppose if you remove this hydrogen atom, you will get CH2 double bond C CH3 CH2 and CH3, both are same. Both are same, no problem. Here if you write the IUPAC name, you will get it. Both are same or different. So this is the IUPAC name, parent chain. And here this is the IUPAC name to write the parent chain. Parent chain is that one. And here 2-methyl 1-butene. Here also 2-methyl 1-butene. So same, both are same. Next, the second type of beta. This is one type of beta and this is second type of beta hydrogen. And if you remove this beta hydrogen, and then in the presence of a polar polar solvent or H2O we are taking, it is a weak nucleophile or a weak base also. And then here if you give, what is the product formed is CH3 C CH3, and here this is a double bond, and here it is a CH and it is CH3. Okay, then this is the product formed, and if you see this product, this is different from these two. Here this is called as IUPAC name of this compound is 2-methyl 2-butene 2-methyl 2-butene. This is 2-methyl 2-butene. 2-methyl 2-butene. This is 2-methyl 1-butene. So they are different. So these are the products. In these two products, this is one only. Actually, this is one, this is two. So if you are taking this one, which is major product? So I will write only one. You will get more confusion otherwise. So I am taking this hydrogen only. Okay, I said now both are same type of hydrogen. So if you remove this hydrogen atom, you will get this one. If you remove this hydrogen atom, you will get this product. Then which is the major product? Which is the major product means in first year we said alkenes preparation methods. In that preparation methods you studied about the Saitjev elimination process, Saitjev's rule or Zaitsev's rule. What is Saitjev's rule? Saitjev's rule means according to Saitjev's the beta hydrogen can be removed from less hydrogen atom containing carbon. Here this is 2 hydrogen, this is 3 hydrogen. Which has less hydrogen? This one. And this hydrogen containing carbon is giving the hydrogen to form the alkene, which is called as a more stable product. This is more stable. And this is less stable product. Why this is more stable product? I think you know about the electron displacement effects. In that hyperconjugation effect is given. With respect to this double bonded carbon, this is alpha, and with respect to this double bonded carbon, this is alpha. With respect to this double bonded carbon, it is alpha carbon. So how many alpha hydrogens we have? 3. We have 9 alpha hydrogens for this. I am writing 9 alpha hydrogens. Whenever 9 alpha hydrogens are present, we will get more hyperconjugated. Here how many alpha hydrogens are present? With respect to this carbon, this is alpha. With respect to this double bonded carbon, this is alpha. So 3 plus 2, 5 alpha hydrogens. Here it is having 5 alpha hydrogen. This is having 9 alpha hydrogen. More is the number of alpha hydrogen, more is the hyperconjugated structures, then it becomes more stable. Here 5 alpha hydrogen, so less hyperconjugation, so it becomes less stable. So Saitjev elimination product is formed as major product. So this is major product. So please remember, that is also called as Saitjev product. And this is also known as Hoffman product. I will give out that Hoffman later. Okay, so this is finally forming this Saitjev product, and this is Hoffman. Why elimination occurred? As per the SN1 reaction, water molecule is present means, as we said in the polar protic solvent or water is present, solvolysis occurs or SN1 reaction occurs now. But in the reaction I said, or in the beginning I gave delta. So initially delta I gave. If you remember that delta, what happens? Yes, in the presence of high temperatures, delta means high temperature. In the presence of high temperature, it leads to elimination process only. It always leads to elimination process only. Here the proton is taken up by this water molecule. This acts as a weak base, water molecule, and this lone pair is there, and so proton is accepted by this and it is converted to H3O+. Okay, so by the elimination process at high temperature, it is giving alkene. Okay, and I will give the more details in next class.